Beautiful angle.
Planning, standing, all the time is spanning, waiting for the show to grow. Writing, fighting, all the new inviting, waiting for the show. Soon we'll see all the hard works come to the peak. Have a seat. Now let's meet. This is Sirius AI, and we are seriously caffeinated.
Hey there, my name is John Rogers, and I am one of the two producers of Sirius AI, a new cartoon coming out very soon.
And I'm Sean, and I guess that makes me the other producer by logical deduction. Hey, what are you drinking, John?
Oh, I am drinking a delicious Veranda blend that is very bold.
That's great.
Very nice. What are you drinking, Sean?
I'm drinking a Barney's White Christmas. Now, I've never heard of a cake called Barney's, but it brings me the Christmas cheer. It brings me the spirit and life that Santa Claus used to bring to me every Christmas. And I'm really having a nostalgic moment, man. So you have to bear with me as we do our first episode of Siriusly Caffeinated, the official podcast of Sirius AI. We are glad to have you here. John, what the hell is Sirius AI anyway?
Sirius AI is a wonderful new cartoon series that Sean and I are producing. We work with over 30 different artists to create an original musical cartoon about robots, and these robots aren't just any robots, they are tap dancing robots who love to break out musical numbers and sing about feelings and what it means to be human.
John came to me and he said, Sean, I'm looking to create a musical that gets humans back in touch with their humanity, right? This is right at the COVID outbreak. This is right at the time that people were locked in their houses. They were losing touch with society. They were losing touch with themselves even. I mean, you saw depression rates skyrocket. You saw suicide rates skyrocket. And we wanted to take this opportunity to be able to remind folks, you know, hey, there is an essence to being human. There is a philosophy, if you will, to being human. And what does that mean? From ages 1 to 92, being able to explore that. Just really glad you invited me in for this opportunity, John.
Yeah, of course, Sean. I'm super glad to have you. I mean, I guess we're no stranger to each other. For the folks at home who are new to meeting us, Sean and I are actually friends that go way back. We met each other in preschool, but we didn't really become friends until high school, where we did high school theater together.
Yeah, and I really care for him in kindergarten. You were a bit of an annoying guy. You used to chase me around the playground. I was like, I need my space, you know, but now I chase you around, so it's all, you know, everything is even.
Yeah, well, you were also short with giant glasses and kind of nerdy looking, so.
I'm also still short, sometimes wear giant glasses, and, you know, on a good day I'm kind of nerdy looking, so. The more things change, the more things stay the same. But we're talking about the essence of humanity, right? And a big essence of humanity, big way to assess that is through the concept of philosophy, right? You may have heard this in your colleges, right? Intro to Philosophy 101. You may have heard this on TV, people talking about, you know, a Dead Poets Society, right? You know, and how that talks about philosophy. But have we ever really had a definition of what is philosophy? Or rather, what does philosophy mean to you? That's what we're looking to explore today in what we call our concept of the day.
Concept of the day. Every single week we are going to, or every single time we come up with an episode, we are going to be giving a concept of the day where we, as in Sean and I, talk a little bit about this overarching idea, and today we'll just start off with the word philosophy. Now, because Sirius AI is a musical cartoon that focuses so much on these big ideas, it's very important that we establish the definition of philosophy. Now, philosophy is a word that has its origins in Greek, and it translates to love of wisdom or knowledge. And back in the ancient Greek days, people would consider everything to be philosophy. we didn't have our categories such as mathematics, science, chemistry, geography. Everything was just part of the world, and humans had to kind of stumble their way through. And philosophy became known as the thing that led into the direction of more progress. There was a lot of questions to be answered, and if you have a love of knowledge or / wisdom, then you were someone who engaged in finding out more about what life was all about, what life is, and where humanity is going. And that is what philosophy means. But in today's day and age, we might find that philosophy means a bit more of like, am I really here? Like, what is life?
Is the air in front of me like physical, solid, liquid? I don't know, man. Am I even here right now? Or is this just an illusion, bro? Are we illusions?
I don't think so. I mean, you're pretty real. I mean, ow.
Yeah,
okay.
You're pretty real too.
All right, so I guess we're pretty real. But anyway, so we are going to explore a lot throughout this cartoon series, and every single podcast that we release, Sean and I are going to come up with the concept of the day, and we are going to talk a little bit about it, and we'd love to hear your comments about the concept of the day down in the comments. So feel free to engage with us when you watch these episodes. We want to encourage our audience to really participate in the discussions that we have here on the podcast.
But one rule about concept, this is very important, this is critical mass, right? When you say concept, when you're trying to introduce a new concept to the world, right, you can't just shout it out. No. You can't just do this as a solo actor. I mean, you've got to bounce it off somebody, right? That's why we're doing this together. We're bouncing concepts off each other. And when we declare that the concept will be revealed, we got to turn to each other. You got to turn to your best mate. You got to say concept. Except, I got to say concept first, and then you say concept second.
Right.
And then the concept happens, right? I mean, we're very excited. This is our first One Take Wonder podcast. So, take 2 on the concept for the audience. Ready? John, concept.
Concept.
We should talk about philosophy.
That's a great idea.
Boom! That's how concept works. So,
wonderful.
You gave the old Greco-Roman definition of philosophy, at least Greek, maybe not Roman. I don't really know. I was kind of blacking out. My definition of philosophy, in terms of what it can mean the most to me and what it mean the most to you, is just a roadmap of how you can live your life, right? We all go through our days with purpose, whether we know it or not. Recognizing if we know what our purpose is or not is, part of our being, right? Mm-hmm. And so kind of that awareness of, do I even have a philosophy, is important, right? Once you have that awareness, once you have that roadmap of how you want to live your life, then you can start self-assessing, hey, am I living my life in integrity or in congruence with how I think it should be? And that can lead you to right and wrong. We talk a lot about, absolute morality and is there right and wrong, and are there merits to there being a right or a wrong, right? But I like to think about philosophy in terms of what does it mean? How can I define this as, do I have a roadmap, and am I living in congruence with that roadmap? For example, right, John, you're doing the keto diet right now.
I am doing the keto diet.
What is the keto diet for our viewers out there who might not know?
So the keto diet is essentially cutting out carbs from your diet, which trigger something called ketosis in the body, which helps you burn fat a lot faster. And what that essentially means is I can't have any noodles, I can't have any bread, I pretty much just eat milk, cheese, eggs, and meat. And maybe some other things, vegetables, avocados. Anyway, it's not a bad diet. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I've seen some friends who've had good success with it. I've dabbled, more so in paleo, right? Paleo would be keto plus no dairy, pretty much. But you might say your philosophy is that carbs bad. And to live your life as keto is to live in congruence with the keto philosophy because you are adhering to what you believe.
Sure. I think that philosophy is one of those things that you really need to keep an open mind with, because philosophy is something that, you can, it calls into question the whole idea of good and evil sometimes, and and it's something that philosophy is something that allows us to think outside the box. And sometimes, honestly, it's a little bit uncomfortable to be thinking about our state in nature. I mean, as Sean was saying, like it's about a moral compass. It's about a code of living, and we all have a philosophy, and it's a little tricky sometimes Sometimes we get caught up in our daily lives and what we are exposed to growing up and what we consider right and wrong in the world. And philosophy is something that you can take a step back from sometimes and try to look at it from different perspectives and everything like that. I mean, it doesn't just have to be questions about space or like do aliens exist or
they definitely exist.
Or I mean anything about religion, gods, whatever it is. Philosophy encourages its participants to leave all their preconceived notions at the door of the conversation and be able to engage in something much more unique and mind-opening that the audience can engage in. And this idea is the central the central magnetic force of Sirius AI, which is a new cartoon coming up that I've mentioned a couple times, and it is a musical that I started putting together about 4 years ago. Sean and I have a couple friends, Sam Druin and Deborah Geiger. They started.
Yeah, it's good people.
Yeah, they started off the project with me in 2017. And it kind of started off with a couple theater nerds just saying, hey, we should write a script for the stage. And that script for the stage eventually, I mean, there was so much in it. We have a character as a robot, we have a lot of special effects. The world that they live in is a post-apocalyptic world where this robot needs to rediscover what it means to be humanity, because all the humans on Earth have almost reverted to this more primitive mindset. They don't have access to all the technology.
Imagine if you just woke up one day and no Wi-Fi, you know, fridge, you know, TikTok, you know, Netflix, none of these, you know, luxurious futurama that we have today, right? How would you behave? Probably like you would in Sirius AI, right?
Yeah.
Probably very primitively.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, there is, I mean, the idea that we are going through life in the 21st century with all this technology at our disposal. I mean, the internet, I mean, honestly, we could talk about the whole idea of a hive mind, and I think humanity is on its way to becoming a hive mind, and it's because of the internet. I mean, the internet is an extremely powerful tool, and the amount of access we have to information is astonishing. We have never in human history had this kind of access to knowledge. Sure, we've had libraries, sure, we've had a lot of universities in the past, and throughout human history, people have been trying to discover more and more, but we live in a day and age where any Joe Schmo on the side of the street can just ask a question to their phone. They say, hey Siri, what is the distance from here to the sun? And the phone's able to tell them immediately. And so we are...
Doesn't require much thinking these days.
Yeah, exactly. And just, I don't want... I mean, humans have kind of become accustomed to that. And so I really want to put our characters in an environment where we have to take that away from them a little bit. And engage in nature, not as we understand it, but as we find it.
I like that a lot. And so, as John said, right, this started off as a musical script, right, made for the stage. Right around COVID, we said we gotta modify, we gotta find a way to bring this to the masses, right? And so, started with a script. I'm gonna try and explain the journey of Sirius from a business angle in 30 seconds or less.
All right.
So here,
All right,
if you're watching, timing, see if I can do this. Right? Started off as a musical script, then said no, it's gonna be a cartoon. So we put people together to try and make this go from a cartoon to a musical. How do you do that? Well, first, you need to understand the animation industry. So business folks coming in to try and learn the animation industry, how to get from point A to point B. Part of why John brought me on. Then we said, wait a minute, we need people to make this into an art, right? We need people to draw, we need people to storyboard, we need people to bring the characters to life, some are dancing like this, right? So we brought those people on. And now we've been working with teams of social media for PR. We've been working with teams of artists for art. We've been working with teams of business people, trying to reach people in the industry. And we've been trying to do so much, and we've done so much, and it's been incredible. And now we are at the point, as I speak to you on this podcast, where we will soon be releasing our first ever mini-sode. So this is 10 minutes of pure animation. 10 minutes of a pure scene from Sirius AI. I can't give too much away about it. What I will say is that I think that you will enjoy the character of Sirius very much. I like to describe it as, imagine if SpongeBob was dropped into Avatar: The Last Airbender, but with more apocalyptic, themes behind it. And he sings. And he dances.
That was beautiful, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really the least I can do.
Yeah, we've been drawing a lot of influence from different from different series in our creation of this project. I mean, every single artist working on Sirius AI, whether they're a musician, whether they're an animator, whether they're a script writer, they all have their own specific inspirations that they're drawing from. And I could talk about the inspirations that I've had when coming up with this whole idea. But I also want it to be able to become something unique. And, it's never a bad thing for anyone trying to create their own material. One thing that people usually get stuck on is that they feel like they're copying things. And that's just, Shakespeare took a lot of his stories from different places. Romeo and Juliet was not an original invention of his.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
I thought Shakespeare was the first person to ever write anything ever. I thought he invented the pen. I thought that he invented the Harlem Shake. Is this not the case?
No. Anyway, so we take a lot of inspiration from a lot of places, and everyone on this team is bringing a different flavor. We have so many wonderful people putting their talent into this project. We have, in our first episode, we have the voices of our two main characters, Sirius and Hope, who are two artificial intelligences in just exploring this post-apocalyptic world where humanity is all but just the remnants of humanity are still in place. You can still find convenience stores, you can still find malls, you can still find city streets, you can still find abandoned cars, and the evidence of a great society, the 21st century, is still you can still find that throughout this world. And we are seeing life through these two perspectives. One of a newborn artificial intelligence, Sirius, who is so excited to see the world unfold in front of him. And then we have another character that we have yet to mention. Her name is Hope. It stands for Hostile Operative Protective Entity. And she...
You sound very hopeful. Is that the use of the literary term irony? Or is it irony?
Yeah, it could be.
It's all up to perspective.
It could be ironic. However, one of the things you had to think about is if you are living in a violent society where you can, everyone's just out to get as many resources as possible, wouldn't it be hopeful to have some kind of machine protecting you from other people?
Yeah, he raises a point. He raises a good point.
Yeah, so Hostile Operative Protective Entity is a tortured soul, I guess. And I mean, whether they or not they have souls, I think that's up for the audience to decide. And Hope dramatically contrasts Sirius's perspective on this whole life thing. She's been around the block. Sirius is brand new. He's shiny. He's new. He has a bow tie. And then you have Hope on the other hand, who's definitely seen some things and who she is probably the first one to whip out the guns if she needs it. And she out of both robots, she's probably the more badass one.
Yeah, because she stay strapped.
I mean, she can just put out her arm and it turns into a cannon thing, and she can shoot things. And we have plans for future episodes to show off more of her badassery. But you'll get a taste for it in this first episode. I'm
very much looking forward to it. Now, something to look forward to in Seriously Caffeinated, right? Is every episode we will have some fan mail coming in. So don't hesitate to email SiriusAIProductions@gmail.com or leave a comment. We just might bring your fan mail question into this episode. Now, given that it's our first episode today, I would like to draw from our good friend Carter. He asked a question the other day to you, if I remember correctly. He was wondering, why the name Sirius? Why have you chosen Sirius as the name of this, wonderful SpongeBob-esque character?
Oh, sure. And just so for the folks who do not know our friend Carter Quill is one of our patrons who has supported this project. Yeah, he's really awesome. He really took hold of this project and he really wanted to see it succeed. So he's been supporting us for quite a while now. So Carter, I know I answered this to you in person, but so Sirius is a name that is it's one of the things we were trying to do with this series is try to really turn everyday things that we have in the year 2021 into the realm of legend and lore. And one of those things is, it's not uncommon to be walking down the road and hear someone say, "Hey Siri, what is the square root of pi?" And so when this robot is created, his father named him after the ancient deity of knowledge. So Sirius is named after Siri, the thing that we talk to on our phones, and that is one of the subtle little references to our 21st century culture that you're going to be able to see throughout this series.
I think it's 0.00888888 repeating, by the way.
Wow, I'm terrible at math. I would not have been able to figure that out.
I mean, I don't know if I'm right. It's just what I think.
Okay. Well,
I've got a brain that can only do so much.
If only we could ask Siri.
If only we could ask Siri, but we're recording on the iPhone, so Siri, you're gonna have to wait. But I'm sure you have many questions about the cartoon. I'm sure you have many questions about what John and I have eaten for breakfast. I'm sure you even have one particular question, and that's, where can you get your hands on one of these bad boys? The official Siriusly caffeinated mug. You can do so. We'll drop the link in the comments, and you can also email us at SiriusAIProductions@gmail.com, and we will get you the link handy. We'd love for you to join the Mug Club and support our production of Sirius AI, the latest cartoon to sweep the nation. So, John, I gotta ask you, what have we learned today?
Oh, we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about what this cartoon series is that we are trying so hard to produce. This cartoon series is created by a band of people who have day jobs, people who have who are putting their passion and their energy and time into this project for no promise of anything big on the other side, but we push forward. And so one thing that we learned is that Sirius AI is an up-and-coming musical cartoon created by people just because we have a passion for creating what we are doing.
It's the common man and woman show.
Mm-hmm. And some of the other things that we talked about was we talked about philosophy, what it means to engage in philosophy and the love of wisdom, to be able to continuously ask questions. Sometimes they make us uncomfortable, sometimes they make us excited, and sometimes we learn a little bit more about ourselves and the reality that we find ourselves.
Sometimes you cut carbs out of your diet.
And sometimes you cut carbs out of your diet. And one of the other things that we are going to be doing, and this is the first Siriusly Caffeinated podcast that we're recording right now, so we're kind of figuring things out as we go, and things might change down the line. But Sean and I actually live in very different areas of the world. I'm visiting right now in Austin, Texas.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! And
I got my 10-gallon hat, my 10-gallon boots, but trust me, I have them.
Originally, we are from New Hampshire, where we went to high school together, along with a few other members of our production team. We have Jen Messina, our production manager. She currently lives in Los Angeles. We have Sam Druin, who lives in Manchester, New Hampshire, who is part of a band. And then we have Deborah Geiger, a Boston-based musician who goes around the Boston area and teaches and does a lot of music stuff.
All very talented folks.
Yeah. We work with a lot of people that we have personal connections with, a lot of people that we have worked with in the past, and then there's also a lot of people who have kind of come onto this project that we've just met online and really hit it off with just over the internet, which is one of the amazing things about the internet, is that we can find everyone necessary to put a project like this together, even if we do not personally know them. But we are able to find them, and they contribute amazing work.
As Kate Monster once said in Anime Q, the internet is really, really great. I'm really proud to work with this team. I mean, we're internationally based. We've got people working on Sirius AI in Mexico, got people from Germany. We've even got enlisted military working on Sirius AI. So, to be the proud, also helping to bring this cartoon to life. So, just very glad to be here. Very glad to work with you, John. Very glad to have you in Austin for the first episode. But most importantly, I'm very glad to be seriously caffeinated. We will see you next time. Don't forget to drop a link in the comments and join the Mug Club. We love you very much. I'm Sean.
I'm John.
And we are Sirius AI.
Long, long ago, there lived these joyous, creative creatures called humans, or people. Little bundles of biomatter that inhabited the Earth.
Earth, the third planet from the sun.